Yes, for sure. Hello, everybody. It's me, Julia Ross, here again with another CSO Family webinar. I am, of course, still working from home, and I have here with me my lovely husband, Warren, who is also home with me. So I thought I would continue the theme of taking advantage of being home and answering some questions to do with different perspectives of surrogacy. So a couple of weeks ago, you might have remembered me and my daughter did a little webinar telling you a little bit about what it's like to be the child of a surrogate. And now today we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be the husband of a surrogate. So in my work, when I'm talking to women who are considering surrogacy, lots of times I get questions from their husbands, or sometimes I'm talking to both of them, and concerns come up and questions come up. And so today we put together a few of them to talk about, and Warren is going to help me answer these questions that we gathered, and just talk a little bit about what it is like being the husband. So the first one that comes up often is the spouses want to know, do they have to do anything? How big of a role do they need to play in this process? And of course, we're always working towards keeping this as logistically simple as possible. We know that even though you're going to be working towards a pregnancy and helping another couple, there's still a whole other life and world that goes on. So you've got your family, you've got your jobs, your spouse has their job. And so I think it's just a concern of how would we manage that, and how would we make that work if there was a lot of just a lot of input that needed to come from husband or spouse. So can you tell us, what did you have to do for this process?
So you start off with the blood work, and basically a full blood workup, make sure everything is good to go and you're healthy, no underlying issues. And there's a psychological screening that you and your spouse have to take part in, as well as the contract negotiation. You're read in because you're a beneficiary as well in the contract. So that's pretty quick and painless, really. All really maybe about a day's worth of paperwork and blood work and everything. So
yes, and that can all be done locally to the surrogate, or like where you guys live. So any requisitions for blood work can be sent, and a phone call with counselor can be over the phone or Skype. So it can be quite simple, and it happens early on in the process too. So the part that the spouse needs to do is over with before getting to the transfer appointment for the surrogate. Anything involved with the clinical stuff, and then counselor and legal stuff all happens before transfer. So by the time you're going to transfer, your husband or partner's role has been complete, and then they're there just thereafter to support and maybe rub some feet.
Probably not.
You can hope, right? You can hope. Okay, so the other thing that comes up a lot, of course, is concerns over physical and mental well-being. I think with any pregnancy, with any time that you're going to be taking medications or anything like that, I would certainly hope that any partner would have some concerns and would care to make sure that you're going to be okay. So for us, I think it was always about communication. In addition to another pregnancy for me, we also know that I deliver via C-section. That's just how I roll. So there was sort of reconciling another operation and recovery from that. So it wasn't so much about how do you move past that or whatever. It was really just about communicating throughout. And because the concern is there, right? I mean, you can't make that go away.
No, you can't. And I think a lot of the early stage conversations we had were really just trying to actually understand what everything really meant about being a surrogate, because my understanding of it was pretty well nothing besides you're going to have a baby for somebody else.
Right. So the medication and even the procedure to get pregnant.
Yeah, like all the meds and injections, or depending on what the protocol is, whatever. It's rather, it is in depth or whatever, but it's pretty simple process overall. But understanding all that and talking about it and actually understanding the whole process beforehand was pretty good, because then I actually had a clue what to kind of expect.
Yeah, and I think the contract stage always brings up, sorry, again, working from home, you'll hear our kids upstairs. The contract stage always brings up conversation points, and you're working with your lawyer, you're talking through different points on there, and so it's always a good time to have more questions answered, or have more communication over what the process is going to look like in the coming stages, when you have that, because the contracts are so thorough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the other thing that it didn't really come up so much for us, but I know that it definitely can be a concern. Some couples let us know that costs in general were just a concern. Spouses wanted to know, were we as a family going to incur any costs? What would happen in the event that I was not able to work, if the surrogate was not able to work? Or away from work for appointments, what if we needed additional childcare, things like that. I don't know, I think in that instance for us, all we could do was make our opinions or base our opinions on previous pregnancies. So I carried pretty well, aside from the whole C-section thing. For me, pregnancy itself was okay, and I always say I love being pregnant, and I'm a great pregnant person, but maybe I should ask you that because he's the one that had to live with me. But yeah, I don't think it's something that was a particular concern for us.
No, you weren't sick or anything like that,
Yeah.
and you were put off work a little bit early, and it was all in the contract beforehand, so
Yeah.
we knew that it was all covered. A lot of, like, you might be out of pocket for a few weeks until you're getting reimbursed for it, but for childcare or appointment or whatever, really being out of a day's daycare for a month or even 2 weeks sometimes, depending when you're able to claim it, wasn't a deal breaker.
Yeah. Yeah, and then once your pregnancy has been achieved, everything is happening local to you. So appointments and things like that, it's not like it's a whole day event or an overnight, like the screening day and the transfer thing. Like everything, if you go to an OB appointment or midwife appointment, it's half an hour and you're done. So and then usually we're supporting our surrogates to help them make those appointments at convenient times where either their partner can be there with them or their partner can help with the kids, and keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, and some of your couples want to be present for some of the appointments as well. So it was kind of just coordinating all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, really it comes back to communication, because that was communication between me and my intended parents and us as we worked out the logistics of attending appointments and that kind of stuff. And yeah. And so the last question we're going to talk about is, how did you feel after delivery? So putting aside the concern for my recovery and postpartum stage, because obviously, it was a surgery, but that aside, how did you feel afterwards?
Pretty relieved, but it's pretty amazing to see you be able to hand over a baby to some people that would never have any other chance to have it. So it's pretty amazing, especially when you've had your own kids and you know that feeling, to see somebody else go through that process, that literally the only way that they could have kids is through this process.
Yeah. It is pretty amazing, and it's pretty amazing to have a partner that is so supportive, and I tell you that all the time, because especially in my work, it comes up a lot where partners are just not prepared, or not, I don't want to say not willing, but just not prepared to support their partner that way.
A big part of it is just education and understanding what it actually means, especially being like a traditional surrogate versus a gestational. So it's a huge difference. So.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I think, if you're thinking about the idea of there being genetics involved, I think that makes it harder for everybody. So within CSO Family, we only support gestational surrogacy, and so that would be where there is no genetic connection to the surrogate. But when you're first coming to this process, you might not know that there is different kinds of surrogacy, or you know, and you're just, all you know is that your spouse is going to have a baby and it's not yours. So
Yeah, for real.
yeah, so it makes some good, you know, makes for some good office jokes. But yeah, it is an incredible experience, and not just for me. Like I call him my partner in making dreams come true. So not just the dreams that we have for our own family, but the dreams that we have helped come true for the intended parents that we've worked with. So yeah, I guess, you know, you guys comment, send questions. I'll try and get a few more words out of this man of few words, and get some answers for you. But we recognize that this is an important conversation. It's an important perspective, and no woman who has a family and a spouse can go into a surrogacy journey without having you know, the full support of her spouse. It's a full family adventure. So everybody needs to be on board and informed, and communicate the whole way through.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
All right. Thanks, honey. All right, guys.